Max and Molly like to bark sometimes, and oh, I don't want you to roll over, buddy. You're gonna have to relax. So because we have a newborn or a young one in the house, roll over. I'll reward that, but I'm not gonna reward him with the treat. That's what he wants. But sometimes there are things that Max likes to bark at, and he won't stop barking, and it sometimes disturbs the baby. And that obviously can't be something that continues. So what we're going to do here is, this is a desensitization process that's I'm going to combine with counterconditioning. So what we're going to do is, Dad is off camera over here, and he's got the sound of a gong from the beginning of The Big Bang Theory, which is a program they like to watch, which he responds to. Now, for the counterconditioning, what we're doing is basically we want to recreate a situation that the dog responds to, and we're going to do it at a lower level of intensity. And we're going to control the environment, and before the actual stimulus happens, in this case the stimulus being the gong, we want the dog to be chewing on the high value treat. Now to begin this, I've got the Tricky Trainer soft chicken liver flavored treats. These are soft and squishy. So the first thing I do is I hold it in my hand and I squish it like a marshmallow and make it really flat like a pancake. And then I get the dog used to chewing on it. Molly, you're going to have to come over here, sweetheart. There we go. All right, so I want to get him used to chewing on it before we're actually doing the experiment, or the technique, not experiment. And so he has to chew little pieces of it off at a time. And so I'm able to keep his attention here. Now, we're going to do this for a sound, but you can use this for also, you said one of the problems is he likes to bark at his neighbors. Sometimes if there's a visual, something that the dog movement or something like that the dog responds to, we can actually do this same exercise. Now, as you can see, I can change his orientation just by moving where I'm holding the treat. So if I was doing where visual, I'd want him to be looking at the treat. Okay, so we're gonna probably cut off my head for part of this video, and that's fine because I want to just focus on the dog. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start feeding the treat to the dog. As soon as I start feeding the treat, the dad is gonna play the gong sound. Now it's important that the treat is being delivered before the gong sound starts. Now the first time you do it, turn it to about halfway volume. He's going to play it off his phone. We're going to play it about halfway volume. Again, we're going to lower the level of intensity. This is what we need the dog to be in what we call sub-threshold energy. Once they freak out, it's going to invalidate everything. So if it gongs and he freaks out, then we played it too loud, or he's too close to it. All right, so I'm going to squish, and we're going to get ready, and I'm going to let him start chewing, and Dad's going to play it now. All right, let's start it again. And as the treat goes away, we need to stop the stimulus, whether it's a sight or sound or whatever it is. That's why we want to do this in a controlled environment, where if like let's say there's a skateboard and the dog reacts like a skateboard, we want to hire a skateboarder so when we say stop, they stop and freeze. And so the movement is a big trigger for dogs. All right, let's get better camera awareness, buddy. Let's go over here. Come here. Oh, you're fast. All right, we're gonna turn it up to about 3/4 volume. And are you ready? Okay. All right. Let's start again. And go ahead. And, all right. Now let's start again. This time let's go to full volume. I got it right here, buddy. All right. Now you can see he's not at all interested in the gong sound. Now it's probably lower than it is on the TV, so sometimes we have to play with different things to get the dog to respond the way we want. Another thing the dog does is for the doorbell. Now I've got a bunch of videos on doggonproblems.com where I do the same exact technique on the door. Now when I do the doorbell, we want to identify where the doorbell box is in the house. And then basically we want to move further away. There was a reflection, so somebody might be at the front door. So basically what we do is we maybe muffle the box so that the doorbell sound, because we can't turn the volume up or down. We could muffle it by holding a pillow over it, or we can increase the distance between the dog and the doorbell. So we want to practice this and just start practicing it over and over where it's so low intensity, I'm just more interested in the treat. Then we get them a little bit closer each time we do this, sorry. And then eventually we can do it where the dog is right next to the doorbell box and is not responding to it because we've conditioned it to be more interested in the treat, and we've desensitized it from that stimulus because nothing else is accompanying it. Now when I do the door, I have a couple little tips. You don't have to have your dog on a leash to do the counter conditioning exercise. I like to do that because it prevents them from running around. The more the dog runs around, the more worked up they get. I also like to put them in a sit. When they get up out of a sit, that's kind of their more, I'm gonna take action position. Can you grab the baby's binky? It's on the floor by the palace. So when we do that, if the dog gets up, then we know that the intensity is too much. Now, something else I do is I don't want to say now. Now, in this case, the dad could see me when I was doing this, and he knew when to actually trigger the response. If somebody's outside your door, ring the doorbell, you're not going to do that. I usually do it on the phone. And what I do is I work up a code. Every time you hear me say a number, ring the doorbell. Or every time you hear an actor in a city or whatever it is, that's when we're going to trigger the response. I think she was like you. There we go. Nope. All right. Well, this is, we're going to end this video now anyway. So this is how we can use counterconditioning and desensitization to get the dog to not respond and not bark at things that they are normally accustomed to doing so.